Man, that's amazing. I feel like it is anyway. How'd you like that? Got a good look up the nose. I try to trim them up. I mean, it's a deal. And I have a mohawk that's not level on my head. I'm aware of that. Kind of, I guess. Shit, I don't know, and I don't care. So I have an idea that's been going on in my mind for a minute. We talked last week about what this really all about. Um, I think this week, I want to do something that should have been done a long time ago for a lot of things. What does it mean? What does it look like? What is your life supposed to look like if you decide to follow this path? I mean, I've got my opinions on it. Although I do have people at work that like to wear jerseys with other men's name on them, which I've always felt is fairly weird. No, don't get me wrong; those guys do some shit I can't do. Right? Awesome, more power to them. I hope it takes them to new levels of success, and they have wonderful, enriching lives. And all I need to know is how can I place the best bet? Right? So let's say you step up to the plate. You decide you don't need Jesus to take the wheel, or Allah, or Yahweh, or Satan, or any of the other deities in Abraham thinking. Let's say you decided that you no longer need good buddy Jesus to help you take the wheel. You don't feel like you have any sins that need to be absolved, and you feel like heaven, well, might be something else, but more importantly, this is most certainly a good ass perspective of hell. I get that. Follow another way of life. What should that look like? Well, should it look like maybe some of the other individuals that believe, well, all we need to do is read some books, and we'll know everything we need to know about our ancestors, and then we can act like we want to be more important than everyone else because we know something they don't know. Okay, that'll get you so far in life. Or we could approach it like some of the radical left. Oh, I know what I'll be. I'm going to be heathen, and the whole thing is, I hate Nazis. Okay, there you go. You got a little bit of righteous indignation there. So ego seems to be taking the lead here with regards to what our spirituality should look like. What about, I'm going to be strong, folkish. This is only for white people, right? Okay. Why would you give a fuck what anybody else does? If that's the limit of what your spirituality is and what you practice, why, and that's the limit of it, how are you going to find any other kind of ideas to follow through with? Because, well, this is only for white people. All right, good. Well, fine. Now, I'm glad you believe that. That's great. That's good. I'm sure that helps you sleep at night. Or here we go. I'll find a group of individuals to dislike. I'm going to follow this path because there's a group of people that I absolutely do not like. Most people you come across in the world are not people worth liking. This is all there is to it. Okay. So what are we going to do? Well, how about we sit down and define if you're going to tune into this channel every Sunday and spend an hour here and listen to me run my mouth. Let's sit here and figure out, okay, what exactly would it look like if I pay attention to what the fuck Bryan has to say? Okay. We can go by a couple of things. I went over the principles of leadership and the 9 noble virtues. Okay, so there's a basic framework right there, right? What are the 9 noble virtues? Let me look them up here real quick. Make sure that I get them right. I wouldn't want anyone who knows more than I do to point out my flaw and thereby ignore what I'm trying to say, because that's the favorite thing to do for most people is to, oh, he didn't know that? Well, then everything else he says, that's not good either. So here we go. The Odinism. Oh, yeah. 9 walls tapestry, 9 values tapestry, 9 noble virtues. Yeah, this is great. Look at all this nonsense. A lot of marketing endeavor in here, right? Hang this up on the wall, and you're going to be good to go. Moral and situational ethical guidelines within certain groupings of heathens, typically those with folkish views such as Odinists and members of the AFA. So the thing about Wikipedia is other people can log in here and make this up. So some liberals obviously been in here and decided to poo-poo the 9 noble virtues. That's awesome. Courage, truth, honor, fidelity, discipline, hospitality, self-reliance, industriousness, and perseverance. Right? Odinic Wright came up with that stuff. Odinic Wright came up with it after going through the lore and said, okay, these are the 9 things we typically see that we can agree that these virtues are something that people always follow. Courage, truth, and honor. Of the 3, honor is the one given you by someone else. That seems like that'll lead like a good life. But does it? So let's say I'm a member of a community and I decide to become Mormon and join the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, right? I have a reasonable expectation that because of my behavior following those virtues, that other aspects of my life will begin to improve as well. Right? I don't know if anyone's ever been to Utah, but I can tell you it's a prosperous state. People take care of each other. Some people step outside of that and they decide, no, that's not what we want to do. That's good for them. And they live good lives as well. But it is still a Mormon state. And the bishop of that region or that area still has the responsibility of taking care of your well-being. Right? So whether you're Mormon or not, if you're down and out, right. Does it? No, I'm not having a Super Bowl party. Shit, no. At any rate, if you're down and out, things are going bad, you can't pay your bills, you need food to eat, you can go see that bishop, and they'll have a huge deal there, and they will feed you, give you food, help you pay your utilities, all of that stuff, all the donations that go to that church. Yeah, their coffers are pretty swollen, but they spend the majority of their money on taking care of their people, sending them over to other places to spread the word, right? What is the message they're selling? That there's something else after. There's something beyond. For some reason, it keeps showing up, this thing about our ancestors. I've seen it in several things. Joseph Smith. My money's on Joe Smith. Yep. You do know that the symbol for his personal guard was a Viking sword. If you look at some of the tales that are in that and some of the paintings that are on the scenes in their churches, they're representative of ideas that are prominent in Norse mythology. Just going to leave that right there for somebody else to look into, see what you think. So let's say you're in a little village in Hawaii. You're following the tribal ways, right? You're following what grandmother said, when to harvest the pineapple and when to go fishing and when the tide comes in and when the tide goes out and when to sail and when to go out beyond the reef and when not to, and the whole Moana thing, right? They know everything about the environment in which they live. So if you follow that spirituality, you follow that way of life, which incidentally are one and the same for that group of individuals, you have a reasonable expectation of being able to survive on a Pacific island, really no matter where that is. So here we all are in the 21st century. We've decided for whatever reason, you know what? I feel like that old god way back in my ancestors' past, Odin, he might be on to something. Okay, what would that look like? Let's say someone decides to follow everything that I'm saying. What should their life look like? What would the final product of following my way of life look like? What should it look like? What do you expect out of life? Because this spirituality is not the style of life that says, well, God's going to do something for you. That is not necessarily the case, and nowhere is it really promised that. Now, it is said that they will be on our side in many ways. It is said that they will assist in certain things. It is said they will take care of all of the universal things that are going on that allow us to live a good life so we can utilize the gifts we have to live that good life. It gives us examples as to how of the things we need to walk away from so that our life might be better. Is it just better, or is it more like theirs? Is that something we should reasonably expect? That if we listen to these tales, that our lives might also begin to resemble or have the quality thereof of the wealth and prosperity and things that we see told about in Asgard? Is that something we should expect? If we follow certain ideas rigorously, honesty being one of the best parts of that. Should I be rigorously honest about everything that's going on in my life? Well, just to start with, yes. Yes. Okay, what does that look like? Well, first off, now I've got a clear train of thought. Now I can say what I need to say. Well, what do I need to be that honest? Being that honest isn't necessarily about being confronted by somebody saying, oh, you're telling a lie. Oh, we caught you in a lie. It's about being willing to seek responsibility and accept responsibility for your actions. Integrity, right? That thing you do right when no one else is looking. People say, oh, well, he didn't pay his taxes. And what's that got to do with you? Right? That's his responsibility to deal with that. Okay? He wasn't honest with his old lady. Yes. Now he's got to deal with that bullshit, doesn't he? And that is never fun, right? Might take a dumb son of a bitch a minute to figure that part out, right? But eventually he does. Okay, now what? All right, so I've decided I'm going to be honest about what I'm going to do. What are the benefits of being honest in my world? Should we set a realistic goal and expectation of what it means to be rigorously honest? And I think it goes back to that comment made by John Gotti. Only people that are afraid tell lies. Only people that are afraid they're going to lose something tell a lie. Most of the time in this day and age, it's our freedom or money out of our pocket, especially when we're dealing with the law, right? I'm not telling you shit, motherfucker. You're going to cost me some money. And you really have to wonder about somebody that takes a job where that 90% of their day is turning some other person's day to shit. That's is what it is, right? Nothing we can do about that. Some people are built for that. We need them. Some people say, I hate cops and to get rid of them. All I can tell you is I'm not real fond of them, but I'm not sure I want to live in a world without them either, because that's going to require me to have to be a whole different person. And 90% of the people in this world are not capable or ready to be something like that. So we need to remember that when we start talking about, let's defund the police, let's get rid of this. Shut up. Right? All the feminist women in the world would be at a huge disadvantage because they wouldn't have a man to call when times got tough or they needed protection. Ooh, that's gonna rile them up, isn't it? But that's the truth of the matter. They call a man, no matter what. So honesty is a given. Honesty is that thing that requires not so much honest with other people, but I think one of the things we really need to be striving towards here is honesty with ourselves. Well, shit, man, what does that matter? What happens if I'm honest? Well, being honest with ourselves requires that we have a little bit of insight, doesn't it? It means that we got to pay attention to what we're saying, doing, thinking, and acting. It's got to pay attention to what we're really going for here. Well, what am I going for here? Well, I would like to live a better life. What does a better life entail? Well, it means I'm going to have a little bit more money. Ooh, that's a tough one, isn't it? How do I be honest to make more money when every billionaire in the world has filed bankruptcy at least once? All the millionaires in town have taken advantage of, well, that's what they're there for. So you can do that. So you can continue to grow. It's a tool to be used by individuals seeking to build wealth. There's a risk involved. And sometimes that risk means you're going to fail. But sometimes that risk means the reward is going to be amazing. Once again, that puts us in a scenario where we need to define what the outcome is going to look like, what we are going to look like, who we are going to be. That's the problem with so much of this today, that we've done all this stuff and done all these things for 20 years. And the limits of what we try to think, believe, feel, and talk about is, I've got honor and courage and integrity and stanza, whatever. I speak out against evil. You work at a 7-Eleven and live in poverty. Does that seem like a good reason to continue living the faith that you're living? Well, I've got a hammer and I've got the coolest t-shirts. Shit, man, I make t-shirts every day. Buy one of those if you want to be cool. Shouldn't we expect a little bit more if we're going to follow this path? Well, I should expect more. Okay, that means we got to do more. That means we got to take a bigger risk. That means we got to stand up and say what we need to say. Okay, what happens? Well, what if I get fired? There you go. Get rid of it. The world is built on, there's formulas and tools and everything else that everybody in the world uses. And there's a certain group of us here in the middle that are saying, oh, you don't want to file bankruptcy. Everybody will think bad of you. I know people that have filed bankruptcy and the next day gone out and got, and a couple of days later, once it's discharged or whatever it is they do, go out and get 16 new credit cards and a new car and start all over again and don't have all that pressure on them. And go out there and succeed and do it right and get it right the second time. Sometimes they got to do it another time. Sometimes they got to do it another time. Sometimes they want to buy a skyscraper. Sometimes they want to build an industrial park. Time may not be right. New administration might get in there. Shouldn't we, as people that want to follow this ancient spirituality, be the demonstration of the fact that this path in life that we're following is leading us to wild, powerful, unimaginable successes other people cannot seem to comprehend or grab? I mean, everybody asks me, you've written books. Yes, I've written 60 books on this stuff. A lot of books on this stuff. And my mind has changed. Seems like every time I've written one, something has opened up to allow me to see something better. Because here's the deal, this image, this idea that you have right now, the best that you can think of right now is not going to compare at all to the individual that's going to emerge after beginning to define and follow the path of what you wish heathenry or ossuary to be for you. But at some point, we need to begin to expect real legitimate results. It might only be, hey, I am a tired old soldier and I would like to have some peace. I would like to have some peace in my heart and in my mind, and I would like to be able to relax and not worry about thinking about all those old things. It might be creating an environment where I know my children are going to grow up in something, and I don't have to waste time dicking around with all these other societal nonsense, and I can raise my children as I see fit and build them into individuals that I want them to become. Without having to listen to the school say, oh, well, they've got to have these 4 things because they're essential in life. Are they? How so? Well, we got to have STEM and, oh, why? So you can have access to their learning and their education? Not a big fan of the public school system, but I have set myself up for failure in the fact that I have to use it. Probably one of my greatest failures of all things. But in the middle of doing all this stuff, I didn't realize it was that way. Okay, so certain things happen. We go forward. Now we've decided to change our path. Now we're going to call ourselves Austria. Now we're Norse heathen, Norse pagan. I like the Norse pagans because they decided, well, I don't, all the baggage that goes with all that other stuff, I'm just not going to play that game. I'm going to call myself a different name, but worship the same gods. Give me a fucking break, cowards. You're true to the old gods, right? All right. Either way, there's still the new name came out. Yeah, I wish I would have done homeschool too, Jeremy. That is no joke. The public school system is a farce of education. When they let unions get in there, when the teachers and the real ridiculousness of it made itself manifest during this this COVID nonsense. Be that as it may, it is what it is. It's our responsibility to change the pattern of our life to the way we wish it to be. Okay, how do we do that, Bryan? That's a grand idea. That really sounds cool. Can I read one of your books and get there? You can get part of the way there. But until we begin to figure out and cement into place, all right, this is what it looks like for what an individual's life who follows this should look like. Okay, what should they look like? They should be able to pay their bills, right? Be able to drive a car. They should have a decent home, clean home. They should have well-fed kids, and the kids should be getting some kind of education, be it homeschool or public school. Right? That seems like a good start, doesn't it? That all of the chaos is out of there. Because I know for most people, when they come in here, they've gone through something. They've been through prison, or they've been in the war, or they're punks that have been bullied around all their lives. So they join Norse paganism and set up themselves as Antifa or whatever, and they're going to fight Nazis. Not exactly the most it's another version of live action role play, which, hey, if you want to do that, go for it. It makes you happy. I hope you have a lot of fun at it, but it should reflect in your life that your life is becoming better. The idea that we change our faith to become something more should result in us looking like we're becoming something more, that we're setting aside certain limitations. All through the Lord, that's what all of these ideas are being told to us is they set this aside, they set that aside, they sacrifice this part of themselves, they sacrifice this, they began to be honest with themselves, they began to demonstrate courage. Honors were heaped upon their name because of their great deeds. They stayed busy, they kept producing. Great. I don't live in a world where I can swing a sword and make a name for myself anymore. Okay, so what do I do? Like I said, bankruptcy. There's one of those tools. Use that damn thing. Start all over. Wipe the slate clean. Give it another shot. But educate yourself before you jump back into the same arena and same mess. Be willing to accept the consequences. Same thing with the relationship. Well, I lost this relationship and now it fell apart. And now I'm doing the same thing again because you won't be honest with yourself. Because you won't be honest with yourself about what you really want. Well, I don't know. Quit being a bitch. All right. These are the kind of things that I see that cripple men and women all over the place with their regards. So, but they're Norse pagan, they're also true, they're heathens, they're pagans, they're whatever. They're following a special way of life that grants them insight into the knowledge and mysteries of the past. Those people that wrote those mysteries of the past built for themselves magnificent things, pyramids and temples and megalithic structures and kingdoms and countries and everything else. And we can't. We're going to follow those mysteries, but we know them. I know them. I'll share them when I get off my job at 7-Eleven. Yes, I got to. Meet me in Mom's basement. We'll roll a round of Dungeons and Dragons, and then we'll discuss the mysteries of Manly P. Hall. I just want something better for this. We got to start trying to figure out and identifying and writing these things down and setting goals for ourselves that matter. I got one for my boss at work. I got to set some goals that align with how to improve things. Well, I'm working on them right now, right? I already know it. I got them written on the wall behind me. But there are other things that we got to take into consideration. How's it going to affect the people we love? Well, being successful is a pretty good thing when it comes to the people you love because it benefits all of them. Number one, you're not borrowing money from them all the damn time. Number two, you might be able to buy a present at Christmas time, right? Number three, you might be able to afford to buy clothes for the kids and keep food on the table and everything else. But Bryan, I've done everything this world says I need to do. I've got this, I've got a home, I've got a car, I've got kids, I've got a job, I work everything, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not getting ahead. I'm just swimming. Yes, that's what the world was designed for you to do. Just that. Buy the banking tools and use them as a consumer and keep your head just right there. Right there. Even keel. Not anything extra, not anything special, right? You make enough money to get this money, but here's 32% interest, right? And that way, well, you're making that extra, but no. You're going to stay right here. We're going to stay right there. And we get so fucking frustrated, we decide, well, Jesus isn't giving me a hand, and I've made my $1.99 donation to the church. And all of a sudden, I got another bill. I can't seem to get ahead. Jesus, take the wheel. These are hard times. We don't know. And it's a miracle. And you keep working, you keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. And we're waiting on this miracle to happen. We're waiting on this to happen. And we're doing this. And we change our faith. We're like, you know what? Fuck all this. There's a new way. And it better work this time. But this way, this time requires some effort on our part. It requires us first and foremost to identify where it is we want to go and what we want to become. And the secret sounds good, and it's got an idea, and you can write it down, but you better understand the second part of that secret is you have to work your ass off for it. You have to sacrifice free time, time with family, all these other things, and it might take 3 years to get it going, and then it'll take another 5 years for something to happen, but you got to identify what that's going to look like. And then you figure out, holy cow, my faith is not going to do this for me. My faith is the thing that's going to allow me to take care of all of the hard things that are coming my way as I try to become what I want to become and make the money that I want to make. It means if this faith is going to give me a constant daily reminder at the forethought of my thought process of, hey, keep putting one foot in front of the other. You can do what you've decided to do. If your mind can imagine it, by gosh, if the will is strong enough, you can achieve it. Our spirituality isn't here to build our wealth for us. It is here to remind us again and again and again when shit gets tougher. You can't clearly see a way that you might need to make a sacrifice here. You might need to make a sacrifice there. But you do have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. There's not going to be a God come down here and sit on the couch with you and drink a beer, good buddy Thor, and say, oh, it's all going to be all right. We're going to grant this to you, and here you go. You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to get, now, first things first, what do I want to work for? What do I want to look like when I decide I want to be successful? What does that entail? Well, I want to have $10 million. If you want to be bulletproof in today's world, you need $10 million, period. The best video I ever saw was John Goodman telling that to Mark Wahlberg, how to do it, right? Make yourself bulletproof, $10 million. I say $10 million because if you happen to get cancer and you don't have insurance, it's going to cost you about half of that for the doctors to get you through that and save your damn life. Unless you go to a third world country where the treatments are a hell of a lot cheaper and you can get stem cells and probably take care of it all and come right back and look like $1 million. Still, going to need that $10 million, right? $10 million. Well, I've written some books. I did it on my own. I didn't follow the patterns that everybody else does. I didn't have Llewellyn's publish them, although they asked. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have listened up and applied myself and lived up to the pressure that a publisher would put on me to market these books. And then they really would be in every pagan bookstore in America. And then my life might be radically different, wouldn't it? Nope. I'm going to do it my own damn way because I'm Bryan Wilton, blah, 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 blah. Great. Now look at you, dumbass. You work a job just like everybody else, albeit a good job, right? And you're still doing the same thing. And we haven't changed the world the way we thought we would. I guess that's where that honesty comes in, huh? It's just as important for me to do it as it is to point out for everybody else how to do it. I've had the opportunities to measure up to standards of things that go on in the world, and I decided, yeah, I don't really want to do that. Fuck you, I'll do it myself. Pirate. Pirate on the sea of life. Here we go. Pirates never really lived long enough to enjoy their nonsense. None that I've read about, right? Or they had to hide all their gold. Nobody got anything. They had to go sail around like scallywags on something else, eating limes, keep from getting scurvy. Hmm. Well, maybe that wasn't a good idea to follow that. Maybe I'll just be a manly man and be strong, and lift weights. Okay. Yeah, you need to get something to do with discipline. You need something to say, okay, I need to go. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. I'm wore out. I'm not actually at 100%. Go anyway. There's going to be some days motivational things don't work. You can listen to all the motivational shit in the world. It's not going to make you get up and do what you need to do. What will? Writing down what you want to look like, following this, using this faith as a tool to help get you where you want to become. Because we desperately need that right perspective on these things instead of sitting here waiting on Jesus to take care of it for us, although we call him Odin these days. No, wrong answer. Bullshit, backwards. Figure out who you want to be and then do the things that need to be done to follow that, using this faith as that stiffener for the backbone of your resolve. Damn, that's a good one. I just came up with that. Probably better write that down. Might need to copyright it too. That could be my $1 million idea, huh? Right? The stiffener for the backbone of your resolve. Like Viagra for your determination. Golly, that'll piss everybody off. So I'm going to challenge people. There's going to be some people listening to this week that are not going to appreciate the things I'm saying, but I'm going to challenge everybody. Next week, we come back here at 7 o'clock in this chat. I want to see some ideas of what you decide you want to become. And then we're going to work through them. And we're going to work through them for the benefit of everybody that shows up here, what it needs to look like. It's going to require me to be on my A game and demonstrate I know what I'm talking about. And it's going to require somebody else to say, okay, this is what needs to happen. So the whole idea behind all this is, okay, what does it look like if you pay attention to and you listen to this every Sunday and you read these books, you do these things? Well, we're going to do it in front of the whole world. And we're going to demonstrate that these people wanted to become this, and this is the path that we took them by, and we're going to do it in front of everybody. Holy cow. I think we can do it. I think with all of us, good. I think with all of us here, I think we have to do it. Now, the first person that says, why do you want to do that? I'm just going to block them. Right? Kevin Smith pointed out real succinctly, when his father died, he figured out the secret of life. You surround yourself with why not people. Well, I want to be a multimillionaire in Arizona, living in Scottsdale, playing golf, after having built a powerful and successful real estate portfolio. Okay, good. All right. I want to be a day trader. I want to be an investor that allows me to invest in this, that, and the other. Okay, good. I want to sell light bulbs to Las Vegas. Perfect. Good deal. We get you right on in there. Whatever the case may be. I mean, honestly, if you were an LED light bulb distributor in Las Vegas 20 years ago, imagine what you'd be sitting on now. Imagine if you were an electrician in Las Vegas. Holy cow, there's no telling what those guys make. You could go work that for 5 years, have enough seed money to do whatever you wanted to, couldn't you? Now, if you settled in the middle of it and got a family and settled on down and were comfortable and had a couple $100,000 in a 401k or whatever, and were able to retire early, well, I can't find any fault with that. I can't find any fault with somebody that's done very well for themselves, working a very good job. Okay? Timeline's a little bit different. But the end result's the same. They've used a faith to empower their spirit to follow a dream. Because quite frankly, I look around and I don't see people that follow this faith enjoying the realities of their dreams. So I'm going to try to fix that. And I'm going to try to fix it in public on these deals every Sunday. And we're going to come up with solutions. And we're going to come up with plans. And we're going to hold each other accountable. And we're going to become something what we always wanted to become. Because we all showed up here expecting our lives to become something more. We all showed up here thinking, finally, I got room to breathe. Finally, I can expect a better life. Finally, I can live sober. Finally, I can have a little money in the bank and life turn around and my jobs are greater. My jobs are better quality jobs than I've ever had. Finally, I can do this or do that. Well, yeah, imagine if you kept your money from the government. There's ways to do that too. Maybe we need to explore that. Yeah, Social Security is like the worst investment you could ever do. But we got to do it, unless you work for the railroad. The railroad, after you work there for 5 years, you don't have to pay into it anymore because they have a pension and it's a damn good one. That's driving me nuts, Shanae. How come you didn't fix that? May have to shave it off and start all over. That's how it goes sometimes, though, in life, isn't it? It may not be exactly the way you want it. You got to wipe it all off and start all over. So, tell your friends to bring their dreams. And we're going to figure out how to work through all of them right here on YouTube every Sunday at 7. And in between the mix, you'll get some of that good old-fashioned ideology that'll help you become something more, and well as what your faith should look like as you're following it. Or I'm not going to tell you what your faith should look like. You taking me, Shanae? That sounds like an excuse. You know what the maximum effective range of an excuse is? 0. Good. I did too, and I think it's got a lot of potential, Jeremy. I think we can do big things. Shanae's in the middle of it right now. Shanae's in the middle of something that I wonder sometimes. I think that's something else we got to consider too. Are we willing to dream that big? Is our faith sufficient that it allows us to dream as big as we want to dream? I, for one, think it does. All right. Tomorrow's Monday. Grab it by the nose and whip its ass. And we'll be back here next Sunday at 7. Bring an idea, bring a dream, and we'll figure out how to follow it. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. I think that's going to be awesome. Bring a dream, and let's figure out how to follow it. Don't cost nothing. And I can give you some protection for, maybe 10% of the cut. You know what I mean? I'm not even an intimidating bad guy, am I? Okay. All right. I appreciate everybody being here. Tomorrow's Monday. Go out there, grab it by the nose, and whip its ass.